I was recently gifted this fanny pack water bottle holder, and while I like its large pockets and kind of the general thing without a ton of bulk, it does have one problem. When I take the water bottle out, which I can do, I can't get it back in. Or sometimes I can, but it's just really difficult to get it back in. And the little loop back here doesn't really help because the problem isn't being able to like pull up on it enough. It's that, well, it's that this kind of, the way the straps are done is pulling in on the water bottle holster, so it is narrower than it is. And even if I take it off and put this in and then put it back on, I have to like really squeeze in my belly because I like this to be really tight, just so that it's not wobbling around. I want it very firmly attached to me. Either that, or I can like undo this a little bit, buckle it, and then have to redo it. But either way, I think that's considerably more work than I want to go to. And despite the poor design that makes me question if any of the designers actually tried wearing this and using it before they put it out onto the market, I think there's a relatively quick fix. You can kind of see how when you're looking at it on here, when I'm pulling on it, it bulges out like into my back some, rather than this being flat and only this area being bulged out. And it's kind of like a discussed on backpacks. I prefer pockets that bulge out exteriorly rather than into the backpack, and that's kind of the same problem that this is having. So I think the solution here that I want to do is, and it's not like I can like change how this strap where it interacts pulls on me because it's just a loop, but well, I can, but it takes some sewing. I'm going to cut it here and then sew this back on in order to hopefully pull only from like these spots, which based on my interpretation of how it's working should mean that it's not pulling on this area as part of like what's pulling around my body, and thus mean it's easier for me to get the water bottle in. I don't really need to be using a speedy stitcher on this. This webbing that this is made of is not beyond what I could do with a needle and thread, but the benefit of a speedy stitcher really is that I can use a much thicker thread than is easy to use with the needle and thread while I'm doing this. And, well, it has other benefits as well. I mean, I didn't have to thread a needle, which is nice. And while it's slower than a needle and thread, a speedy stitcher is a lot faster than using a separate awl and trying to make that work. It's not like it's really that slow. I wanted to use this thicker thread because of the relatively high amount of forces that are going to be on this, and I've seen on like my backpack strap on my trip down to DC, which will be coming out after this video, I am quite certain that broke using just a regular needle and thread, and this will be going through similar, if not greater, forces in its kind of daily use. So I want to make sure that it doesn't break, because that wouldn't be good. So the Speedy Stitcher sews kind of like a sewing machine, going with kind of a thread from each side, except you start with a single thread and you just split it down the middle, which means you have to estimate how much thread you'll need, which, I mean, that's like normal sewing, and if you misdo it a little bit, it's honestly less of a bad thing than normal sewing because of the lack of needing to rethread, so you can just kind of restart right away. A very useful tool for working on kind of this tougher stuff or leather, and it's all in a neat compact package that just is quite ergonomic in both on the hand and just generally in function. With this completed, it seems to be working fairly well. It's not perfectly easy to get it in. Like, I think I'd still kind of need two hands. Like, maybe I can work it in with one hand, but it needs two hands. I have some of these that are easier to put in and out, but it's much improved. There's still a little bit of that inside pocket feeling, but it is in a much improved situation of getting this water bottle in and out. Kind of the real question now is the durability. I just kind of worry it's too much of a stress concentration too close to these the ends here that I mean, I got them pretty good with the lighter melting them down, but I still have a little bit of fear that that is not going to hold up well enough. And there just really wasn't any, I couldn't really do it any further away because of just how little material I had to work with, unless I wanted to graft on another little piece, which seemed like way more work than I was into.